Okay, Michelle, knowing what you know now, if you had to do over again, would you have done anything differently in starting this program?
I would have absolutely approached the program differently.
How so?
I've made a lot of excuses. I'm like, but I didn't know how much work it was going to be.
Right.
I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so...
I'm so busy.
Yeah. And I am.
Yes, yes.
But I think the key piece of information that I would have loved to have that would have made me approach it differently would be that I don't have to... that I can free flow through it. That it's okay, that this isn't as big of a thing as I'm putting so much weight on this.
Yes.
And that's what stressed me out.
Yes.
And that I didn't have to do that it should be this awesome
Process.
opening.
And being able to support you, I'm going to call it out too when I hear it.
And that's why, going back to what I said earlier, how it's scary.
Yeah.
Because these reactions or these ways that I've developed of coping, even though they may not be positive or productive, I've adopted them at the core.
There's not a lot of coverage. No, there's not. I gotta tell you, you look kind of hot.
It looks really nice. I like it.
So we took a trip to the mall to have some fun, to practice being spontaneous in the moment, in the feminine energy. And you got to go try on some clothes that were things that you normally wouldn't wear.
So when we were finally there and all of the women were like pulling different things off the rack. What about this? How about this? I was like, I'll try anything on.
You were a good sport.
Thank you. And some of the things, like I put it on and I could just tell, like my body language would just be like, is well beyond my comfort zone.
So if you're really trying to connect with your feminine, this takes you out of your comfort zone, out of the business-like, puts you into wow. What was it like trying on things that were out of your comfort zone, that were out of your style, that was totally different?
Well, it was really nice to be able to do that just for fun and not because there's an event tomorrow night that I need a dress for and I have this budgeted to, you know, pay for it. So instead we were just kind of exploring.
It's beautiful. Is there a part of you that's a little bit feistier, that's a little bit more fun-loving?
Yeah, but there's an admission to see that part. So yeah, I can see how there are arenas in my life where I'm more naturally feminine, and then there's arenas in my life where I'm called to be more naturally masculine because of what's being asked of me or what I'm asking of myself in order to, you know, achieve goals and do what I'm here to do. Most of the people that know me would describe me as like warm and kind and, you know, and they would probably say feminine, but then they'd probably have some kind of caveat, but like really powerful. There was a whole series of time where I wore nothing but black dresses. And so as you've seen from your witnessing of me over the course of our time together, like now I moved out of the black phase. Well, between this one and this one, if I'm going like total new comfort zone, I would pick this one. Because this one at least I feel pretty in. This one I feel like I'm up to...
Maybe you didn't like the leather part. Is it the leather part of this one that you didn't like? And I love what you're wearing, but I just think it's still more business.
Yeah. Okay.
Radical dating is accelerated, you understand that, and the purpose of that is so that we can get you out there meeting prospective life partners, right? And so we have to do some work to understand who that is. First, who you are at this stage of life, and then who is it that you're looking for.
It was funny, somebody this morning who I spoke with said that using the words you use too, and when you approach dating or pretty much any relationship are really important. So if you say whatever, then that's what you're going to attract.
Yes.
Is both positive and negative.
Right.
So it'll be whatever. Like I do that. I say that word a lot. Like whatever. But that's actually not good. So I have to reframe that. And so it's been a process for me and enlightening where I'm like, oh, I said that thing again. So it's cool.
And then we always talk to ourselves, and we have these tapes running in our own heads. And so tell me how that verbal abuse and that kindness kind of has shifted there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, several people have noted my word choices, like outside of me, and then called me on it. And they're like, hey, why are you talking about yourself so negatively? Why did you say that you want to be with a dude? Is that what you're looking for? You really want a dude?
Yeah.
Or do you want a conscious man?
What did you answer?
And I was kind of like, what? Like, I had to I didn't even make that connection at first.
It sounds like a lot of what you were doing before you created some of these exercises and some of these lists and some of these patterns that you were able to see. The idea is they make you aware. And when you're aware, guess what? You have choices. And because there are other options. If you're not aware, we just go through life.
Right.
We just, we don't know.
Right.
So we can't change.
So I know it's strange and it's probably odd for people to understand that, but
I do
usually
now.
when I resist something or I shut down from it, that means that I care about it or that I want to go deeper with it, but I'm just like, whoa.
Today is a super moon. So I didn't know it was actually today because I've been hearing about it for a long time. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to a moon circle on the night of the super moon.
Awesome.
Betsy and I talked to Wendy. Wendy facilitates it, I guess.
Okay.
And
Our client Wendy.
Yeah. And so we said, are there men there? And she said, yeah, it's co-ed. So,
Okay. Oh, so it could be a scouting mission too.
yeah, that's what we're hoping. So, so we're thinking that, this is going to be something different than you haven't done, and you've been talking about missing your spirituality.
Yeah,
You haven't
I
had
do
a lot
miss
of
that.
time. So,
Well, it's not that I
great
don't have a lot of
combination.
time. It's also, too, that I got sidetracked from it. I just kind of went off in a different direction for a while.
Okay. Here we are. Hello. Good to see you.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
My focus really is every full moon we're releasing what's outworn and no longer serving us.
Yes.
And every new moon we're receiving what we want to invite more fully into our lives.
And don't you think this is
I
something?
didn't even know about this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it used to be a garden store, and then it's over time morphed into a spiritual center that also has beautiful antiques and different things that they sell.
Yeah.
But I've been teaching here for a couple of years now and leading the moon circles for, I'm going into my 3rd year. And so,
awesome.
yeah, twice a month. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It is a full moon tonight, which is an opportunity that we take to hit the pause button and just think about what in our lives we're ready to release. For this night, what I thought would be interesting to look at is something that I actually read on the internet that I'm going to share with you. And so I invite you just to close your eyes and allow yourself to receive what's available in this message. Blowing bubbles is both a metaphor for transformation and a means of creating rapid change in an energy structure. Energy is being created and destroyed and recreated constantly. Bubbles remind us of this. They destabilize a rigid structure by following the natural flow of energy, which is in constant state of flux. The patterns you despair of ever changing because they seem so stubborn or intransigent are in fact composed of energy quanta that dance and twirl in a continual stream of fission and fusion, creation and destruction.
Mine is fear of letting go and flowing. Woo! Goodbye, fear of letting go. In the garbage you go. All of you.
Yay.
Visualization. I also call it mini movie theater. So in your mind, of course, with meditation, your eyes are closed, you're looking ahead. So in your mind, you're looking up into the forehead area of your brain.
What?
You're looking up here.
Okay, sorry.
And it is like a movie screen.
Like a movie movie screen.
So you are visualizing the ideal scene, and this, of course, will change with what you want.
Okay.
So tonight, you're seeing yourself smiling, happy, people hugging you, wishing you success, cameras going. Whatever you want to happen tonight, you're visualizing that in this movie. All right, the more details you have, the more it's going to come to be. Again, law of attraction in works, okay? So that's visualization.
I never thought I had a support system, but you know, actually after my cologne launch, after all those people were there for me, I was like in shock. So
That was
yeah,
a beautiful event.
I have more of a support system than I think I ever had.
Yeah, I met a
And
lot
I'll-
of your friends that night. They were all so complimentary, and it was lovely what I was hearing about you.
Yeah.
You know, and how
I-
much you're changing and growth and
And I think it's due to this process also that that I oh my gosh, I just whoosh right over my head. The support group that I had, I mean, I think maybe the process has helped me along because the changes that have been made in me, I've made in myself with the help of, you know, yourself and Betsy and of course David in the process.
that occurred during the radical dating
Yeah.
process. So.
Well, if it wasn't for the radical dating process, I probably wouldn't have done it yet. I probably would have waited until after the new year.
I remember
But
working with you during that. You were feeling stressed originally and unorganized, and I just said, you know, start breathing, meditate, write things down, one day at a
Yeah.
time. What are you going to do in the morning, the afternoon?
If it wasn't for,
And it just came together for you
If it wasn't for
beautifully.
the radical dating, I probably wouldn't have done it until January, February. I would have pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off. I know the people I've chosen, and I know the people that I should choose.
Has that changed a lot?
Oh yeah, big time.
Do you want to name one or two areas that has changed for you?
I don't need somebody to. I don't need to help somebody to feel important.
And I said, I decided to just let go with this process because I've been resisting it so much because it's such hard work. And I don't like to be vulnerable. We already established that.
We did talk about that. Yeah.
So I just decided that I have to enjoy it as much as I can and just like allow it to unfold the way it's going to. So the only thing I can do is just, you know, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
That's how I've been approaching it over the past week is just like, I'll handle this and this is where my head's going to
Good.
be at this moment.
Good.
Then what's next?
Yes.
Then what's next? Rather than thinking about all of it at the same time and being overwhelmed by it as like a
Right.
giant amount of work to do.
Well, you are a strong person. You're a very strong person. But the fact that you are not holding this in anymore, because it seemed to me that you were just white knuckling through life, through the personal side of life. You were great on the business side of life, but you were white knuckling on the personal. And now you have given yourself permission to let go.
I've been on about 10 dates. One second date. There was good chemistry. And what was nice, and this conversation happened not too long ago, was from texting, emailing, and some conversations with different people, that's, to me anyway, that's been my great unknown, was chemistry. And it's been a little scary, to be very blunt, at 54, is that going to be a similar or same feeling as it was 30 years ago?
So we've come through what we call the preparation or readiness phase, which a lot of the work is internal. You know, you're looking at yourself and where you've been in the past 20 years, and you've done a lot of great work getting to know who you are and what you want. And we've started the action phase. And you're out there, you're doing it, right?
I am.
Yeah. Looking at going forward, one of the things that you put down that could interfere with the future success of your relationship, of this relationship you're creating or attracting, is the other person not being truthful. Okay, so tell me about that.
You don't know everything. I don't know everything or much of anything from a couple of dates. So
Right.
starting out, that is one of my fears, is not knowing how accurate information is, hoping that it is, and hoping that when you feel that great chemistry with somebody, that it's based on, I don't want to say facts, but we don't know people's background. The older we get, I find that it's always more complicated.
And I agree with that. We have more history, and so there's more complexity. And I agree that when you're scouting and screening, that you have to go with what's written down on the piece of paper. But now you're a radical dater. Okay? You've been learning how to do this process, so I just want to make sure that you have a methodology and a game plan here to ascertain. How will you ascertain? Because you're not creating a relationship with this person who you go on 1 or 2 dates. Remember, we don't even like to call them dates.
Sure.
Right? And you're definitely not in a relationship. You're trying to create a relationship, and if your screening and testing goes well, you'll start to move towards that. That's the point where I think you want to be really comfortable that the other person's telling the truth. So what steps will you take?
Well, that's where I need to get to that point of being in a relationship.
Yes.
That's where I need to feel comfortable that everything I know is honest, and that I know everything about them that I want to know.
So looking for that great relationship. Okay. You remember we have the analogy of the three-legged stool. 3 legs. One is you, one is this partner that you're attracting, and the third is the relationship. So let's look at the leg that is you. So what can you do to strengthen that leg so that you are best prepared for that ideal relationship? Or the flip side of that is, what have you done in the past that you don't want to do in the future that has screwed up relationships in the past?
Well, it's a complex question that you ask, and I'll take the first part first.
Okay.
What I've been doing has been preparing myself to be ready for a great person to come along, and I feel that I am ready. The second part is the easier part to answer, which is I'm not looking to sabotage, because that's the word that comes to my mind, or screw up a relationship that comes along.
So you don't want to sabotage?
No.
Okay. And how might you sabotage?
I don't even know, because
Okay.
it's not in my mindset of doing that, and that's what stumped me about the question when I was filling it out. I said, if that was what I'd done previously, it'd be easy to say, oh, I would go there, I would go there. It's not. That's why I stayed away from even attempting to do this, because I wasn't in the right mind frame to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I waited till I was open to do this properly. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's easy to just jump in and not be ready and screw something up. My greatest fear was that there wasn't anybody out there for me and I'd wind up alone. That changed to, now I know that there's that great partner for me. It's just about finding them.
There's like a ton of mirrors in this program. You know, normally when you do something, you know, you are your only mirror, but in this program, there's like dozens of mirrors that you can almost not get away from, like looking in the mirror and seeing like what's going on. And then, you know, I have Laura, you know, texting me, you know, every other day, you know, just checking in, you know. I went to a rock and roll bar the other night that I used to frequent all the time, and I had fun. I connected. I saw a friend. But guess what? That is, in case I needed a reminder, that is definitely not the place I want to scout for love at. I feel like I've done a lot of cocooning. And I'm hanging onto that one trapeze, and I just need to be like, okay, you've got wings. You don't even need this trapeze, like just break free.
You do want true love.
Yeah.
And you realize that you can't make it happen. You can't pursue a guy and make true love happen.
You can't force it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that true love's going to happen by you letting somebody you know that you're attracted to, that you're attracted, and invite them.
Yeah. And that, it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like in recent years, the past year or so, I've been trying to do that. And there's like a question and a fear around, like I can think of a couple guys offhand right now that are in my, social networks or career networks who I'm like, wow, he's really cute. I really like this guy. But I want him to make the first move. And I feel like I'm trying to figure out, did I show enough? Did I drop enough hints? Is my energy inviting enough that he's picking up on this? Or is he just not interested? So then I get in this little confused state of like, well, should I be more aggressive? No, I don't want to be more aggressive because I don't want to get turned down and I don't want to repeat old patterns. But am I showing enough? So that's like a confusing spot for me. What do I just say, hey, are you dating somebody right now? Is that subtle?
Why not?
That's not subtle at all.
Why not?
Well, because then if he says, no, I'm not, then where do I go from there? Would you like to be dating somebody?
See, this is where having a plan is great.
Yeah.
Because you developed a plan when you're not in the situation.
Yeah.
You choose the strategies that might be best for you, and then you have a plan going in, and then it tends to work out better rather than following impulse.
Yeah.
So this is exactly the benefit of a plan. So here's what I suggest, that we're not going to solve all the world's problems today, and that we have the beginnings of a plan. And we already discussed that when you make a plan, you keep it unless you have an idea that makes it better. Okay? So this is the plan so far. The rough sketch version of the plan is, hey, are you dating anyone? Nope.
And then the cat's got my tongue, and then it's like, oh, cool.
Would you like to go get a frozen yogurt sometime? Yeah. So far that's the plan.
Okay.
Now, you don't have to love it. It can be very scary to you.
Yeah.
And as a coach, if it's scary to you, to me, that's not a reason for no.
Okay.
It might even be what you need to do.
Right.
However, if you can come up with a better plan, let's do it.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Rihanna, thank you so much for inviting Ruby Ribbon into your home tonight for this radical dating extravaganza.
So my question is, you said it's not available in stores, and I have to say the meanest voice in my head is the dressing room voice. And so you mentioned that you pair with a stylist. So can you talk about what it's like to work with a stylist as opposed to being like going into the mall and going into a dressing room?
So when you have your own Ruby Ribbon stylist, they can work with you to figure out what firmness of hug you prefer. And we'll actually take a measurement to make sure that we're getting into the right sizes, and we'll help you pick styles that you can kind of work on building a capsule wardrobe. So you have a couple of different pieces that you can mix and match.
What prevented her from continuing? I mean, there's a lot of explanations, but what do you think the bottom line is?
Michelle prevented her from moving forward. As we talked about yesterday, there were some things that were uncomfortable for her that came up, and she didn't want to really deal with those. And I think she had in her mind an idea of how she wanted the program to go, and it didn't go that way, as we know. Coaching doesn't work that way. The client cannot control the process in terms of what's going to come up.
so here you are. You're talking to somebody who's gotten to know you and has witnessed you in coaching. And
So let me ask you, David, what do you see in me?
you are so ready. You want it. You are ready to move forward. And that's exciting. But I see you still struggling.
When someone's in the coaching relationship, if they want to get through those barriers, and of course our show is Breaking Through Barriers to Find Lasting Love After 40, you have to be willing to acknowledge that there's a barrier and explore that and break through it so it's not a problem for you anymore.
You know, when you said you have trust issues, and those trust issues are coming out in different ways, right? And really, that's sort of it. The trust issues are what's keeping you stuck or getting in the way or making things challenging for you. They continue to show up.
How so? How do they keep coming up? I'm not really sure what
It's
you're pointing at.
the way they manifest, in my observation, they manifest in resistance.
So with a vision board, I'm gluing that on. So does that mean I'm holding onto it too tightly? I'm white knuckling this vision. It's not gonna help to be completely authentic and vulnerable with someone because it's not gonna lead to real love anyways. It's so funny because they say that the things that annoy you most about other people are the things that you deny within yourself.
I don't know if there is anyone out there who will ever get me.
But I have to get over that.
And resisting is protecting yourself. Does that sound familiar? You see that you do that?
I'm trying to read into what you're saying and found a specific example, and I think I have a good one. But it actually is not intellectual resistance, it's actually emotional resistance because I feel like I'm being like put in a laboratory and poked at and through this process, and it's not supportive. The pieces that I like the least are the stuff that are forcing us to focus on negative traits about ourselves. That's not a coping mechanism that I have to shine a big light on. Like, it's just part of who I am.
Yes. And does it ever come out biting?
It can, I'm sure.
You're not trusting that you're safe. And more importantly, going back to the unmet need. You have a need that's not being met. And what I want to do, being in a relationship with you, in any relationship, I want this to be a win-win. I want the relationship to be good and functional. I want to respond to the needs that you have. And if you have an issue, I want to be able to know what it is, talk it out, figure out how to fix it. And let's, because I care about you and I want your needs to be met. I want you to succeed. And everybody else here does too.
These are real people and real coaches working through real issues and working through real barriers. And if a client is not willing to do that, they're not going to get the outcome that we would all hope that they would get.
No, actually, I'm very clear. I've gone clear, and I feel really good. I'm very clear about what my patterns are, what my emotions are. I've identified. Mine is fear of letting go and flowing. Woo! Goodbye, fear of letting go. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So you can tell me all day long to
it's
fix
always
my
gonna be
communication
messy.
style.
Yeah.
But if the other person doesn't have the exact same training, then it's still going to be a mess.
That's a great example of yes, but, by the way. Do you realize that?
It's looking.
Yes,
at all
that's a
sides
great
of the
idea,
issue.
but it won't work because. Cheryl's session with Michelle really highlighted how in control Michelle needs to be safe, really. I mean, that's why she's doing it. But her response to a lot of ideas, a lot of suggestions, a lot of places that she doesn't want to go is, well, yes, but. We call it, being the yes, butter. Or yes, but. Oh, I tried that, but that didn't work because. Yes, but. And, so until we're willing to accept that we don't know all the answers, until we're willing to be vulnerable and take risk, then we're going to stay stuck. Please know I am available anytime you want to have a conversation.
Okay, thank you.
She hides well with makeup She tries to lie, she's too good for that. The story